ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुविज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 51, Verse 49. And we are reading the prayers of Muchkanda to Sri Krishna inside the cave. So we studied how he spoke about, in general, how people in the material world are under the influence of Maya, and although they have an opportunity in the human body, but they remain steeped in their attachments to house, family, wealth, and so on. So he's continuing on the same theme. कलेवरेऽस्मिन् घटकुड्यसन्निभे निरूढमानो नरदेवैत्यहम् Vrito rathe bhasva padatyanikapayir gam paryatan stvaganayan sudurmadaha. So now he's talking about himself, otherwise it looks like he's only talking about others or in general. So he focuses on himself. He says that this body, which is like a pot or like a wall, so ghat kudde sannibhay, and nirudhamano nardeva. So I'm riding on this body and I'm thinking that I'm king. Aham nardeva iti. And I was surrounded by chariots, elephants, horses, infantry, and I wandered over the earth very proud and not caring for you, not thinking about you. So he's speaking about himself, but this is how general people are like. People in general, their life is like that. They're busy. Everybody is busy. Nobody has time. And if you speak anything about practice, spiritual practice, then they say, oh, I have no time, I'm so busy. How can I find time? We are not like you sadhus sitting in Vrindavan. We have family, children, job, so many problems. And that's what they speak. So they are right. And they are also riding. They may not have elephants, they have cars. Right? 4 legs.
2 cars.
So that is horse. Different varieties of cars are horses and elephants. So they are wandering, and chariots, and the body, they say, is like a pot. I don't know why he says body is like a wall, kudya. So, kudya bhitti. Kudya means bhitti, wall. So she was asking why he is saying kudya bhitti. Kudya also means wall. Bhitti also means wall. So what is he commenting here? So comment is that kudya is not a very common word for wall. Bhitti is common. So he is giving the meaning that kudya is wall. Yatoham sudurmado abhuvam. So I was very proud, because if you have wealth, if you have strength, if you have people around you, then you become proud. Because konyasti sadrisho maya. Who is there, someone like me? So this naturally comes. Ateva kalo nisphalo gata iti purvenanu. So therefore he says that my life went in vain. I did not do anything practical or anything worthwhile. Because wandering here and there and flaunting your ego, it feels good. But then afterwards, and then you become old, or the army can do a coup against you. That is also possible. Same people can shoot you. And in the olden times, the kings themselves were very powerful. Physically, mentally, they could fight even if people came. But these days who are ruling, they are not like that. So they don't have any ability to fight. So Bangladesh PM ran away. Because what is he going to do? It's only people who came, not army or anything, just people. They're not even having guns or anything. They just came and surrounded her residence. And I don't know what kind of security she had. So she just ran away. So this is the modern situation. In the olden time, if the king was there, he will come to fight. You will not run away just because of the people. You don't hear anything like this in the olden times, that somebody could dare like that. So this is the present situation. So still they are proud. There is not much for pride. So body is like a pot. Pot means it can break. That's what it means. So ghatatva avchinna, संयोग संबंध अवच्छिन्न, आधेयता निरूपित भूतलम, घटनिष्ठ, घटत्व अवच्छिन्न, संयोग संबंध अवच्छिन्न, आधेयता निरूपित भूतलम. So that's what body is wandering on the earth, and it can break any time. Actually, maybe pot is more resilient than body. If a bacteria goes into the pot, pot will not break. If the bacteria goes into body, you can get diarrhea, you can get fever, and you can start shaking, or you can get brain fever, right? It can be finished. Simple, small thing. Pot is stronger than body. स्वप्रमत्तमुच्चैरतिकृत्य चिन्तया प्रवृद्धलोभं विषयेषु लालसाम् त्वमग्रः त्वमप्रमत्तः सहसाभिपद्यसे चुल्ललेलियहानो हीरिव कुर्वन्तकः. So when the person is wandering like this, performing various types of activities and engaged atikritya chintaya, so many things to be done, so he is very much busy with that. So tu apramatta sahasabhipadyase, and then what happens? Suddenly the death comes. So pravriddha lobham visheshu lalasam. He has lobha and great desire here and there for vishaya. So when somebody is like this, then God comes in the form of Kala. So then you come, tvam apramatta sahasa vipadyase. So you are not pramatta, we are pramatta. Apramatta means not crazy, not inadvertent, one who is focused. So he says you come, and how do you come? You come in the form of antaka. Antaka means death, which brings end. That is antaka. And how does it come? So it comes like a snake who is very hungry, and he sees a rat. So he attacks the snake, catches the rat and eats. So chut lelihano. Chut means hunger, and lelihano means tongue coming out. So hungry. So he's moving his tongue and then catches the snake. Chulalelihano ahirevaka. And he comes suddenly, sahasa abhipadyase. So if we don't accept God in our living state, then he comes as death. Then you cannot say, I don't accept him. You can deny God when you are living. When he comes as death, you cannot deny. So then he comes and catches. Just like snake. Snake is also called Kala Sarpa. So that's the situation. So people, they forget, they are busy, and they forget that they have to die. karishyami, karishyami, karishyami iti chintaya, marishyami, marishyami, marishyami iti vismrita. So I will do this, I will do that, I have to do this. You remain absorbed like that and you forget that you have to die. So then the snake comes, bites you. Then you cannot say, oh, just wait, I have few more things to complete. So he says, no, don't worry, you can do that in next life. What is the hurry? Let's go now. Satvama bhajantam janam tvatsvarupam kalaiva grasetitya. So he says that those people who do not worship you, who do not engage in your devotion, so then you come in the form of death. That is what is being described. So God is very clever. Imagine there was no death. Will people believe in God? So even when people die, still they are not ready to believe. What if there was no death? Then they'll say, who cares? So therefore he says that those who do not worship you, for them death comes. Of course, someone can argue, what about those who are doing worship? Do they not die? Death does not come to them. And this argument can be given. They also die. If that was the case that they don't die, then there was some inspiration for others also. But everybody is dying, so why? What is so special about those who are not worshipping? They die and other people also die. Is there any distinction in the death? Both die. Both die in the same way. Right? So what would you say? Bolo? Or no bolo?
So yes, both die in the same way, but there's a difference because those who are accomplished devotees, for them it's something happy, because in their next life they can go to Bhagavan, and so therefore it is not a source of fear as for normal people.
So,
and the fear of death that everyone has is also an inspiration to think about what will happen next, and this can lead to inquiry into
yes.
the Absolute.
So Krishna says, Tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami nacharat partha maya veshata chetasam. So maya veshata chetasam, those who have fixed their mind on me, so I uplift them. So they also die, but not like the snake catching the rat. So just like the cat catches the kitten, so affectionately, not the snake attacking the rat. That is the difference. So pramattam vishayashaktatvena tvayi anavahitam. So pramatta, matta, pramatta, unumatta. So pramatta means one who is not aware of God, or who is not bothered about God, is not interested in it. So that person is called pramatta. So therefore it says vishayashaktatvena tvayi anavahitam. Why is he not bothered about God? Because he is vishayasakta. So vishayavishta chittanam Krishna avesha sudurata. So because their chitta, their heart, is absorbed in Vishaya. And Vishaya are like poison. Visham yanti iti Vishaya. Vishaya In Sanskrit means sense object. So, but it means visham yanti, which take you to poison, or which turn into poison, or which is poisonous. That is called vishaya. Or vishanvanti, which binds you, vishesh rupena, which makes you conditioned, that is called vishaya. And those who are asakta, those who are attached to them, so they do not have their awareness, mindfulness of God, because there is no mind remaining. So iti krityam evam karaniyam iti tachintaya. So they are busy that I have to do this, I have to do that. They have a big list of things to be done, and they are absorbed in that. So vishayasu pravriddham lobham. And then their greed for more and more vishaya, for more and more sense objects, it keeps on increasing. Because if you start making money and you are successful in making money, so then what happens next? You want to make more money. Money has this ability to pull you, to increase your avesh, your absorption. So you become more and more absorbed. So then you have no time. So that is called lobha. So labhat lobha pravartate. First there is labha, then there is lobha. So first you have the profit from your business, and then intense desire to make more profit. So then iti kritya chintaya. So then you have more things to do. Your business expands, you get more responsibilities. And then when money is coming, you have to invest it more, or you have to spend it. So you become more busy. So that is the lobha, pravriddha lobha. Manorathe marne api bhagne api lalasam visheshvotsukam. And if your manorathas, your wishes are not fulfilled, then what happens? Then also you become eager to fulfill them. So if you are successful, then your greed increases. If you are not successful, then you are busy how to be successful. So either way, you remain absorbed in the vishaya. And in the meantime, the snake is moving slowly. It's like sometimes you see lizard in the room, maybe you don't have. So when they have to catch a fly or a mosquito, they sit very quietly. Like they don't make any sound, any movement. It's like as if they are like some dead matter. Like you can put a plastic lizard next to it, they will look same. And then when they see the fly, and immediately they bring out their tongue and catch. So like that time keeps on moving slowly, then catch. So this is what it says. Antakaha kalarupi tvam tu apramatta savdhana eva vipadyase. So you, in the form of death, you remain very alert. Human beings are not alert about their death, but you remain alert. You don't forget. And then you jump and take a scoop, catch. So abhibhavsi kshudha shrikni lelihano ahi akho musakam yatha vipadyate. So just like out of hunger, the snake is moving its tongue and catches the rat. Purarathayir hema paraskritaischarana matanga jairva naradeva sangita saiva kalena duratyena te kalevaro vitkrimi bhirbhasya sangita. So then he says what happens after death. Earlier, the person who was called Nardeva, one of the name for king is Nardeva. Nardeva means who is Deva, who is God among human beings. So earlier he was surrounded by elephants, by chariots which were covered with gold, all these various types of servants. So when the kings are there, they have so much opulence, people. Then when he dies, what happens to the body? So he says that body is burnt, becomes ashes, or eaten up by worms if it is thrown out. So vit krimi bhir bhasma shangita. So it rots. Sometimes people die, they are not found. So then they are eaten by vultures. So it was the same person who was very proudly going around. Saiva kalena duratyena. And this time is duratya. It is insurmountable, unconquerable. So that very same body which was being worshipped before, how people were treating that body earlier when somebody is king or somebody is some great celebrity. You think of some big celebrity, how people are running after them. The same person dies, body finished, burnt. If it is buried in the ground, then worms come and eat it up. They say, oh, this is the body of a celebrity. Right? The worms also enjoy that celebrity's body. So that is vit, creamy. So they turn it into stool after eating. That's what happened to them. So kalgrasto deha eva evam bhavet ityaha purayati. So when the body is eaten up by the death, then this is what happens to the body. So when you are alive, you can take care of body, you can put perfumes, decorate this, that. Ultimate destination is this. Eaten by worms or burned into ashes. So yarathair matangajair vam charan nardev nama shobhita asin. That he was very well decorated and he was called the god of human beings, surrounded or moving in chariots on elephants. So now saeva deha vit krimi bhir bhasma nama vibhatsito bhavati. So it becomes, turns into worms, ashes, stool. Nobody wants to look at it anymore. Nirjitya dik chakrama bhuta vigraho varasanastha samaraja vandita grihesu maithunya sukheshu yoshitam krida mrigah purushai shaniyate. So that is after he dies, this is what he happens. Even when he is living, he says the situation is not as wonderful as people think. He says he goes around conquering, nirjitya, dikchakra, abhuta vigraha. So he goes around and conquers others. He becomes Varasanastha. He becomes situated on a big throne and he is surrounded and worshipped by the smaller kings. So he is Maharaj, emperor. And then many other kings are coming and paying obeisances to him. He is a big king. And other kings coming and bringing gifts to him, bowing down to him. But then he goes to the inner quarters and he becomes like a krida mrig in the hands of his wife, his queen, who treats him like a dog. He may be king for anyone, but for her he is nobody. So she rules over him. So why? Because he wants some pleasure from her. So griheshu mathunya sukheshu yoshitam kridamida. And kings have many women, so he becomes a plaything, like a doll. These women treat him. That same person who was being bowed down to big kings, now he is begging them. He is running behind them. So griheshu mathunya sukheshu yoshitam kridamraga purusha ishaniyate. So he says, oh Lord, this is the situation for people. Big people, they get this kind of treatment at home. So evam swasajatiya janasya nardevatvam vitkrimitvam kala bhedgata muktam digvijayitvam yoshit kridamragatvam tu samkalgatam evetya nirjati. So he says that when he, in the previous verse, what was described, that he is a king and he is going around and, big power, and then his body turns into a worms and stool and ashes. So he says that is a description of difference of time. It happens after death. When he is alive, he is in his proud position and being worshipped. He says, now in this verse is described that his durgati, his ill treatment happens even in the same time, even while he is living, not after death. So he is sitting outside being worshipped, he goes inner quarters, and then wife doesn't care for him. What can he do? So digvijayitvam yoshit kridamragatvam. He becomes the puppet. Kridamraga means a puppet, or like a pet deer, pet animal. So like people have pet dogs, pet cats, you make them come here, sit down, jump, this, that. That's what he becomes. Abhuta vigraha nivritta sangrama krishna iti artha. So abhuta vigraha means that he has given up fighting, he has come back from that. Purvam ya samastahi rajbhir vandito api purusha yoshitam krido bhavan, kridamrago bhavan. So earlier he was equal to these kings, and he conquered them, they worship him. But the same person, he is like a toy in the hands of his wives. Griheshu vividhant pureshu niyate yoshidbhis tad dashyadibhir vaiti shesha. So he says inside the house, in the different inner quarters, he is treated like that by women or even by the maid servants. Maid servants also, Dasa, because he sends messages through them. So they may also play games with him. Karoti karmani tapas sunishtito nivritta bhogastad apekshaya dadat punasya bhuyayamaham swaraditi praviddhatarsho na sukhaya kalpato. Then there are some people who are little different from this. So what they do is that they engage in some austerities, because they think that by doing the austerity, etc., they will get the boons, they will earn piety, then they will get big kingdom. So Rajyadi, to attain some kingdom, enjoyment. So they give up bhoga to attain bhoga. Like people say that you do some austerities here, then in the heaven you will get some good situation. or you donate 100 rupees here, then you will get 1,000 times in heaven. So basically you are controlling your senses here so that you can enjoy there. That's the idea. So he says he is nivritta bhoga, he has given up enjoyment. Why? Because he wants tadapekshaya. That he is desiring to get bhoga, so he restrains himself here. So this is also a type of business, sakam karma. And dadat is doing charity. So people say like that, if you give this much donation on Ekadashi or on this Janmashtami, then it will come 100 times. Like those who build temples, then they say like that you will get so much in your next life. So people, they believe like that. There was one Christian priest, he was going around. In the olden time, you know that Christian priests, they used to sell position in heaven. It's true. You could buy a place in heaven. They will preach like that and people will give them money and they say, yeah, your place. So one priest was going around like that, selling tickets for heaven. You're booking your seat in the heaven. So one man, he bought a ticket, whatever, $100 or $1,000, whatever was the price. So he bought, and many people bought. So this one man was clever, he bought the ticket from him. And then he knew that this guy has a lot of money, so at night he went to his room. And when he was sleeping, he jumped on his chest and he had a knife in his hand. And he said, give me all your money, otherwise I'll kill you. So this guy said, don't do this, you'll go to hell. He says, that's not possible, I already bought the ticket. So now, since I have the ticket for heaven, I can take your money. Because my seat is already booked. Nobody can undo that. So you can book your seat like that by doing tapasya. It's also booking your seat, fasting, doing some parikrama, this, that. So you'll go to heaven. So punasya bhuyayam aham swaraditi. That I will again become king. Just like I'm king now, so I give charity, then I will become king in next life also. And praviddha tarshona sukhai kalpate. So in this way, their thirst, their desire for sense enjoyment keeps on increasing, but it does not bring them happiness ultimately. That's the conclusion. त्वाम भजतो विषय भोगी यथा निंद्यस तथा विषय भोगा भावो अपि निंद्येत्या. So he said, just like the person who does not worship you and remains absorbed in sense enjoyment, he is criticized. In the same way, one who is not enjoying the sense objects but who is aiming for it in future life, he is being criticized here. Earlier he was talking about the king who is enjoying here and not thinking about you, not engaging in devotional activities. But now this guy is not like that. He is performing vratas, he goes to the holy tirthas. Every Ekadasi he does Govardhan Parikrama. Every Purnima and every morning, evening he goes for Bihariji Darshan. So he is doing all this, but he has aim that next life I will be having kingdom. So that is being described. So tapasi adha shayana brahmachari adav. So he is doing tapasya, he sleeps on the floor, not on the mattress or the cot, without AC. And brahmachari adav is maintaining celibacy, not married. Sunishtita, but he is fixed. He has a big nishtha. What is his nishtha? Next life. Now I do tapasya. You postpone, sacrifice pleasure now, then you will get bigger pleasure later on. Like people study, they go to a good school, they work very hard. So why they are doing it? That once they get the degree, they will have a good job, then they will enjoy. So now do some tapasya, work now, enjoy later. That is their formula. So some people, they say enjoy now, enjoy later. So they follow this formula. So they are being described in this. So therefore they are called sunishtita. Not only they are nishtita, not only that they are fixed, they are very fixed in their goal of vishya bhog, enjoyment. Punasya swarad indras chakravarti. So now we are king, but next life we want to become king of the heaven. So Chakravarti Samrat. So you become Indra or you become emperor. Now I'm a king, but I want to be an emperor. Because as a king I have to go and bow down to the emperor. So next life I want to be like him. Everybody is thinking of improving one's material situation. Nobody is satisfied with their material situation. Everybody wants more. Says also. Now this next sloka is very nice sloka, important. Bhavāpvargo brahmato yada bhave janasya tarhi achyuta sat samāgamah satsangamo yarhi yadaiva tadaiva sadgato paravareshe tvai jayate mati. So this important sloka, it was cited I think in Bhakti Sandarbha by Sri Jiva Goswami. So he says that bhavāpvargo brahmato yada bhavet. The sloka is interesting. He says that when your wandering in this material world comes to an end, then you get sadhu sangha. Janasya tarhi achyuta sat samagama. So means when your material life comes to an end, then you get association of a devotee. And when you have association of devotee, at that time your mind becomes fixed in Bhagavan, Paravaresha, who is the Lord of material as well as spiritual world, and who is the goal of the sadhus, sadgata. So basically he says that first your material life comes to an end, then you meet devotees, then your mind becomes fixed on Bhagavan. So it's little unusual because we know that Jiva Goswami did a very long analysis that what is the cause of attaining bhakti. So he says sadhu sangha. That's where this sloka came. So sat samagama. So you meet a sadhu, and then when you meet a sadhu, then your interest in material world comes to an end, and then you fix your mind on Bhagavan. But here he says other way around. So Tari sarva dukhapshamni param sukhmayi bhaktireva kada bhavet ityaha bhavati. So then the question is asked, when does one attain bhakti which is supremely blissful and which brings end to all suffering? So bhakti is the antidote for suffering, and it gives bliss. So how does one get it? That is being described here. Hey Achyuta, O Achyuta Bhagavan, Bhramto Jivasya Yada Bhavapvargo. So Jiva is Bhramata, is wandering. So संसार भ्रमित कौन भाग्यवान जीव, गुरु कृष्ण प्रसादे पाए भक्ति लता बीज. ब्रह्मांड भरित भ्रमित है. सो ब्रह्मांड भ्रमित है कौन? भाग्यवान जीव. सो पीपल आर वॉन्डरिंग. So people are wandering in this Brahmanda. Brahmanda is like an egg. So you are inside, but nobody is having phobia, claustrophobia. Actually, if you think you are inside an egg, you will have claustrophobia, right? But nobody is having it. So we are all caught inside the egg of Brahman. And only some Bhagyavan Jeev, kaun Bhagyavan Jeev, you get Prasad, Guru Krishna Prasad. So that's what is, that Payar, Bengali Payar is made on this sloka. Because this is exactly what it is saying. So Brahmato, same word Brahmato, is wandering, Jiva. Jivasya Yada Bhavap Vargo. So when this Bhavabandhanasya nasa syat, when it's an end to his bondage to the material world, satsangama, then he has satsanga. So anugrahaka sadhu sango bhavet. Then he gets sadhu sangha, which gives him the grace. Yarhi satsangama tadaiva iti akara evakarat nanyada. And when you have sadhu sangha, then only your mind becomes fixed on Bhagavan. And their word eva is used, means it is only then that your mind becomes fixed. Tada eva, not any other time. Means there is no other possibility of becoming a devotee except for sadhu sangha. Kadapi ityartha. Atra yarhi tarhi iti sthula kalam avlambya ukti suksham kalam avlambya tu satsangam satsamagama bhavapargyo karakadyo paraparyo vaktumachitam. So here there are two conditions. One is yada, tada, when, then. Other is yarhi, tarhi, when, then, twice. Because there are two situations. Whenever your bhavaparga comes to end, you get sadhu sangha. Whenever you get sadhu sangha, your mind is fixed on Bhagavan. So he says one is yarhi tarhi, the second is referring to sthul kala, the time which you are seeing, which is visible. Because you get sadhu sangha, your mind becomes fixed, you can feel it. But the other one, that when your this bhavaparga comes to an end, do you see that? No. So therefore he calls that suksham kalam avlambe. Satsamagama bhavapargyo. So karan karyo parapariyam avashyam eva vaktumuchitam tadapi tadaviparenokti. So general rule is that first there is cause and then there is effect. It's not that effect comes first and cause comes later. Cause comes first, effect comes later. But here it is described that effect is coming first, cause is coming later. How is that possible? So he says, karyasya atishagra bodhinyatishayoktis chaturthi gaya. So this is a type of alankar which is called atishayokti alankar, hyperbole, where when something happens very quickly because of some cause, then the effect is described as first, cause is described as later. So it implies the quickness of the cause resulting into the effect. And satsanga is so powerful that it brings an end to your material bondage. It happens so fast that it is described as it happens before even satsanga. That is the meaning. So this is one type of atishayokti alankar. 4 types are there. This is the 4th one. Atra sadgatau iti asya vaishnav toshinyam vyakhyayatha. So the word sadgati can have 2 meanings. Sadgati is used here for Bhagwan. So one, it can mean that Bhagwan who is the gati or the goal of the sadhus. Or it can make Bahuvri Samas that sadhus, Bhagwan whose goal are sadhus. Sadeva gatir yasya sa and satam gatir yasa can be made both ways. So Vaishnav Toshni he quotes Mat kripam bina satsangamopi na syadityato mat kripa eva adi karanamastu. So he says, Bhagavan says that without my grace one cannot get satsanga. Therefore the original cause of attaining bhakti is my grace. If Bhagavan says like this, then he says tatraha santa eva gatir ashraya yasya tasmin swechhamayasya aham bhakta paradhina ityadi sadichya eva taccha sarva pravartate na svata iti buddhate. So he says no, it's not like that. The meaning of sadgati is that sat or sadhus, santa, devotees, they are the gati or ashraya of Bhagavan. Because Bhagavan himself says aham bhakta paradhino hiya swatantra iva dvija sadhuvir grasti hridaya bhaktair bhakta jana priya. Bhagavan himself says that I am under the control of my devotees and therefore I am not independent. The devotees have captured my heart and I am very affectionate to my devotees. So therefore devotees' grace comes, then only one becomes bhakta, not by grace of Bhagavan. So sadichya eva taccha sarvam pravartate na svate. So it is only by the will of the devotee that another person gets devotion and not by itself. Atastvat kripapi sadanugata evati bhava. So the meaning is that even Krishna's grace comes only through the devotees, not independently. Satam gatau iti asmin arthepi asatam gatir na bhavati iti purvena satam parasparasya sattve. And if you make the other meaning, sadgati means one who is the destination or goal of the devotees. So he said then when it is said that he comes only by the sadgati, means only by him, it means it does not come by those who are not devotees. He is not the destination of the asat. And then if it comes through him, then how does it come? He says then also it comes through devotee because he comes and then there is a Guru Parampara. The sadhus. So ultimately, if you take that meaning, then it descends, but it comes through devotees only. Atastvat kripapi sadganu gataeve. So even your grace comes through the devotees. Satam gatau iti asmin arthepi asatam gatir na bhavati purvena satam parasparasya sattvena spadita eva tvatkripa. So earlier devotees they get from you and then it comes. Natu purvam swayam samuttirya ityadi. So it is not that you come yourself. You give your grace to devotees, say Brahma. Then Brahma gives to Narada, Narada to Vyas comes. So Nigam Kalpataror Galitam Phalam. So it comes by Parampara. So that is the significance of this sloka. I'll stop here if there is any question.
Could you explain what this paraveshe here means? So satsanga.
Paravaresha, not paravesha. Para, avara, isha.
Oh,
Means the Isha of Para and our high and low, that side, this side, up, down.
okay. So in that moment one gets absorbed in the Lord of all these worlds. Okay, got it. And then he quotes here, or at least in my edition it is marked as a quote, but I'm not sure if this is correct. Here in when he quotes from Vaishnava Toshani, then he says Tatra Santa Evagatir Asharyasya Tasmin Svechamayasya iti Aham Bhakta Paradhina. So the Svechamayasya, maybe in your edition there is some note where this is quoted from. Here
It's from
it
10th
says this.
Canto, 14th chapter, Prayers of Brahma.
Exactly, yeah, this is also.
Svechamayasya natu bhutamayasya kopi.
But how does it fit into this context here? Because there Brahma sees Krishna and he says that you manifest out of your own will, and so how does it fit
So
with...
it depends how you translate. Swecha, one is that your ichha, another is swanam ichha, that by the will of your bhaktas. You come. Anything else? Okay.
So Satyasandha Das, he writes... So Satyasandha Das ji, he writes, Pranam Babaji, you spoke about death in verse. What happens to sadhakas practicing long time bhakti who pass away from, for example, a car accident, heart stroke, etc.? Such kind of death happens very unexpectedly and focus is perhaps not on Bhagavan Krishna due to the moment. What is the destination for such long time sadhaka? Thank you, Satyasandha Das.
So we know this verse that Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyaste ante kalevram. Whatever one is thinking at the time of death, then one attains. So this is a general verse. And then we think that if a devotee dies in accident, then oh my God, he was not thinking of Krishna. He did not die peacefully. So now what will happen to him? So a devotee doesn't have to really worry about that. Because this is what Krishna says. Tesham aham samudharta mritu samsara sagarat bhavami na chirat partha maya veshata chetsam. So if you have devoted yourself to Bhagwan, if you have surrendered yourself to Bhagwan, then it is not really that important. It is good, but not that it is some big calamity if somebody dies in accident. It doesn't matter to a devotee how he dies. He's not a yogi that he has to die in Uttarayana. He has to leave his body in the Shukla Paksha, in the daytime, so on. That is for the people who are not devotees. So devotees do not depend on all this. Therefore there is a statement in Bhagavatam that Kalecha Deshecha na mano sajjet. That don't try to think of time and place. Somebody dies in Vrindavan and somebody dies outside Vrindavan. Oh, this is good, this is bad. What is good and what is bad is how you have lived your life. Because at the time of death, anyway, it is so difficult to fix your mind. It's an unusual position and we have not practiced it. Unless you practice every day, close your nose, don't breathe for 1 minute, and in that situation try to focus on Krishna. So you are practicing how you are going to die. And if you are able to still think of Him. So main thing is that are you able to devote your mind, body, senses in devotion while you are living in good condition, good state of mind. So that's what will be considered for devotee. So don't have all these types, because people make up, oh, he died on Ekadashi or he died there. It doesn't matter. If you are not devoted to Bhagavan, you die on Ekadashi, what difference does it make? And if you are devoted to Bhagavan, you can die anytime. What difference does it make? You think Bhagavan is not going to care for a devotee who does not die on Ekadashi or does not die in Vrindavan? He will neglect him? No.
And then similarly, if we extend that, if a real devotee at the end of his life, gets dementia or gets a little crazy in the mind, that's also not important, right?
That's why I'm saying that main thing is when you have some little control over how you utilize that. As he was speaking, that when they are healthy, then they are enjoying the senses. Then snake comes and catches the rat. So we should worry about now presently and leave the death to it's his job, what he wants to do. Okay. So Harinama Amrit Vyakaran Tadhit Prakaranam